This week on Making IT Easy, we look at your phone's newsfeed, some chit-chat about Cyber Monday sales. We deep dive into crafting your feed and what that really means. And a wrap of the day is the ABC News.
Thanks for joining us at lunchtime. Thank you very much to James Ray for his wonderful show this morning. How are you doing today, Tony?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, darling?
I'm good, thank you. The adrenaline is setting down and it's going to be great.
Excellent.
Do you have any particular favourite part of today's show that you're looking forward to?
You kind of just touched on what we're going to cover, but interestingly enough, crafting your feed is one of the things that's near and dear to my heart as well as yours, and I expect a lot of people. And they're probably thinking, what does that mean? So we'll go into that a little bit more as the day progresses, but it's about customising what kind of information is being dished up to you on a regular basis through your devices and news feeds and notifications and things like that.
Okay, that sounds like fun. We're going to go to a Johnny O'Keefe song called Shout. So I imagine most of you will recognise this song. Well, hopefully. I
did. You know you make me want to shout. Throw my hands up and shout. Kick my heels up and shout. Throw my hands back and shout. Come on now. Shout. Good to see you well. Don't forget to say yay, 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 yay. Say you up. Say it right now, baby. Say you up. Come on, come on. Say you up. Say that you. Say you up. Come on now. Say that you love me. Say that you need me. Say that you want me. Say you wanna please me. Say come on now. Say come on now. Say come on now. Say I feel we miss do up. Been 9 years old. Do up. Yes, I'm all smooth for you, baby. Rump my soul. Do up. And now that you're grown up, enough to know. Yeah, you wanna leave me. You wanna let me go. Well, I want you to know. Yes, I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I feel myself. Hey, and if you ever leave me, hey, I don't want nobody else. Hey, said I want you to know. Hey, said I want you to know right now. You know you make me wanna throw my hands up and shout, kick my head back and shout, kick my heels up and shout. Come on now, shout, take it easy, shout, take it easy, shout, take it easy, shout, take it easy, shout. All right, shout, come on now, 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 shout. Now wait a minute. I feel alright. Now that I got my woman, I feel alright. Every time I think about you, you look so good to me. You know you make me wanna shout, throw my hands back and shout, kick my hands up and shout, throw my heels back and shout. Come on now, shout, take it easy, shout, take it easy, shout, take it easy, shout, take it easy, shout. A little bit softer now, shout, 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 a little bit softer now, shout.
well, that's another one of those songs that just about gave me a heart attack in the middle when I thought it was stopping suddenly, and it wasn't. But it was a good song, and he went long, and it was great. Good on you, Johnny O'Keefe.
You breathe now.
Well, no, that's later.
Tips and tricks, recap, and something new.
Excellent.
So last time,
yes.
Last time we were talking about rotating your screen and how to stop it from happening. The example that I used was if you're looking through your photos in Google and kind of scrolling, flicking your way through, and if it changes from a portrait to a landscape, so that's horizontal and vertical, you can adjust whether the phone automatically changes its orientation or whether you can go into settings to do that. So remember, swiping down from the top to get into settings to play with that. This time, I'd like to have a quick look at your phone's news feed. We seem to be focusing a little bit about news and crafting your feed and stuff today, so it seemed like an opportune time to talk about some of the facilities that are built into your devices that give you access to the news. I know that people like to listen to the radio, obviously, and watch TV, but it's nice to be able to just be able to quickly flick and find out what's going on any particular time using a device that you happen to have either in your hand or close by. Mm-hmm. If you have an Android device, they've got a Google News feed, which is off your main home screen. So your home screen being when you first wake up your phone, generally you're on a main screen with most of your icons that you use on a day-to-day basis, the general ones. If you swipe to the left, swap to the right-hand side, what it does, so put your finger on the screen anywhere on your home screen and swipe to the right, it will bring up this thing called the Google News feed. And the Google News feed is a tailorable set of news topics and information that you can, over time, customise to suit your requirements. So just by swiping to the right from your main home screen on an Android device will give you this, and then you can just gently scroll your way through the list of things that are there. There's customisation options by clicking on your little profile icon, where you can go in there and specify what kind of news, and generally at the end of each news article there's an option with a love heart, or there's the 3 dots which gives you the option to say I'm not interested in this. So slowly the artificial intelligence algorithms built behind the news will start to learn what you like and what you don't like, and start to dish up the food, the mental food, the news that most interests you. So that's how Android does it. Apple don't have this close affiliation with Google, obviously, so they have the Apple way of doing it. And there is a news app. It's a kind of a red and white striped icon-y thing that's available by default on your Apple devices. It's one of those things that you can accidentally delete or remove. So if you don't have it, go to the App Store and look for news. And as I say, it's a red and white little icon. And once you install that on your device, you can then customize it using a widget. We talked about widgets a little while ago.
Yep.
So a widget, you can go in there and specify your news topics and your stories and things that you're interested in, and then that widget will appear on any screen that you decide you want to set up on your phone or your tablet, for that matter. So it can Apple. So Apple has an app that you install, whereas Google has it built into the Android space. So there's some good things to play with. If you're not interested in either what Google dishes up or what Apple dishes up, you can look at other news apps from the App Store, the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, and choose one that you like. And we'll talk about ABC News a bit later on. But there are many others like Channel 7, Channel 9, CBS, CBC, all of those international ones, Al Jazeera. There's a whole bunch of other
BBC
news feeds that you can play with in that space.
Yeah, you're suggesting that you can actually put an app on there that might do Al Jazeera, for example, and then you'll get their news feed on a daily basis.
And then you can go into that Al Jazeera app, for example, and customise what topics from the Al Jazeera feed interest you. So you can really go quite granularly into the information that's there. So.
And when you say what type of news feed you're going to get, what kind of, does that mean that they might give you sports categories or world news?
Yeah, they break it down into basic topics that you can choose. And, whether you're into politics or entertainment or religion or whatever, you can choose these things. And that feed is then based on the app that you've got it from or what your sources are. If you have a smart home, Google Smart Home, you can actually set up routines to feed you news from different sources. So you could listen
okay.
to Sky News or local radio news or international news, etc., and have that dished to you on a regular basis. So all of this stuff is customizable. It just depends on how you want to play with it. But the tip today was to have a look at the Google, if you have an Android device, swiping to the right from your home screen to have a look at that feed.
Yeah.
And with the Apple stuff, by default you can install the Apple News feed and install the widget and then have a look at what's available through there.
Fantastic. Okay. Thank you very much for that, Tony. That was really quite enlightening,
Okay.
as always.
Next time your internet buffers, lags, or drops out, I want you to say it with me, Perth. We deserve better internet. Get your internet flying through the air quick as a flash. Pentanet is Perth's own private internet network, delivering super fast fixed wireless internet in selected coverage areas. With $0 standard install for a 12-month home or business fixed wireless plan, join Pentanet and make the switch to fast, reliable, local internet. Search Pentanet now.
Station sponsor.
Station sponsor Reeds Remotes are a family-owned and run business. They offer a one-stop shop to most remotes and keys, stocking WA's largest range of replacement garage and gate remotes and batteries to fit all makes and models. Replacement keys from spare keys to house keys, flip keys and smart proximity keys. They are fully licensed to cut and program spare car keys. Located east of Vic Park, you can find them online or in store. Head to reedsremotes.com.au. Station sponsor.
MRB 8165.
Back through the years I go wandering once again, back to the seasons of my youth. I recall a box of rags that someone gave us, and how my mama put the rags to use. There were rags of many colors, but every piece was small, and I didn't have a coat, and it was away down in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, so in every piece with love she made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of. As she sewed, she told a story from the Bible she had read about a coat of many colors Joseph wore, and then she said, perhaps this coat will bring you good luck and happiness. And I just couldn't wait to wear it, and Mama blessed it with a kiss. My coat of many colors that my mama made for me, made only from rags, but I wore it so proudly. Although we had no money, I was rich as I could be in my coat of many colors my mama made for me. So with patches on my breeches and holes in both my shoes, in my coat of many colors I hurried off to school, just to find the others laughing and making fun of me and my coat of many colors my mama made for me. And oh, I couldn't understand it, for I felt I was rich, and I told them all the love my mama sewed in every stitch. And I told them all the story Mama told me while she sewed, and how my coat of many colors was worth more than all their clothes. But they didn't understand it, and I tried to make them see that one is only poor only if they choose to be. Now I know we had no money, but I was rich as I could be in my coat of many colors my mama made for me, made just for me.
From the news and special interest. So, in New South Wales, they are set to pilot a digital ID photo verification technology. Are you with me?
No, try again.
Digital
photo.
photo verification technology.
Okay, so this sounds like it has to do with
data breaches.
It's all to do with the data breach stuff, right? So what they're doing, this is a decentralized option, right? So at the moment, we're all at risk of these hackers getting hold of these online databases, centralized databases of our information.
Yes.
So the New South Wales government are basically saying, well, why don't we just have you look after your own data and have it on your device or on your phone using a decentralized option?
Oh, that's an interesting. Okay,
Meaning,
so this is
right, the data is stored locally on your device. The New South Wales Minister for Customer Service and Digital Government, his name is Victor Dominello, says that the decentralised digital ID strategy is the way forward. So a locally stored ID will be created, allowing users to remotely renew things like their working with children check, to prove their age for alcohol purchases and all that kind of stuff using, wait for it, the Service New South Wales app. Without providing physical ID cards. So my question is this better than having a physical card? If I have a physical card with photo ID on it, how is that any worse or better than a digital version of that on my phone that only I can access on my personal phone? It's the same as having a card, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept, but they're thinking of bundling this in. So obviously the Service WA app we use over here, the Service New South Wales app, they're going to incrementally add things like working with children check and ability to prove your alcohol age limit and things like that. So presumably driver's license and things like that are going to be the next things to step in.
Okay, so we're creating a digital Australia card.
Yeah. Something like that, yes.
Right.
Yes. Moving away from the decentralised information. But when you think about it, you sign up with a telco or some kind of agency, they're still going to ask for your information and they're still going to put it in their database.
Right, okay.
So
I'm peering behind you because I imagine our friend James, who's out there, I'm watching the steam probably coming out of his ears. He's not a fan of sharing his information with a card or the New South Wales government or anyone, quite frankly.
Anyway, this is moving into trial, so it is happening.
It is happening.
It is happening in New South Wales. So we'll watch what happens over East, and yeah.
There is some conspiracy theory that suggests that they're using the COVID opportunity to try and capture, I think government, to capture data and like create a bit of a Australia card and that sort of thing. And it doesn't look that far from the truth. Yes.
Anyway, so
James is snorting with derision. I've just received a text.
Oh, he texted you, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, in other news, how did you go with your Black Friday sales yesterday? Did anybody actually get out there and play with it? Did you do anything, Kay? No?
I received some notifications on my feed about Black Friday sales that were happening, and they looked appealing, and I swiped them to one side because I was busy.
Well, if you missed out and you feel like you didn't want to miss out, you still have another chance.
Oh, of course you do.
The sales will continue over the weekend. And, of course, Cyber Monday kind of mops up the stuff that wasn't sold between Friday and over the weekend. So basically, if you didn't get anything on Friday, don't stress. You will have the next couple of days to do that. And sometimes additional sales come out on the Cyber Monday. Generally, they want to run out all the stuff that they've been, they bought in bulk, discounting all this kind of stuff. So now they want to get rid of it all.
I actually hadn't spent much time thinking about the cyber sales or the Black Friday sales until we had this show when you were talking about them. And I do find it quite useful to actually do that, like pre-Christmas. I need to start thinking about things. If I'm not going to actually buy anything now, at least it started me trying to figure out what I'm going to get. Which is
and I guess it's a decent amount of time before as well. So you pick your Christmas presents up now, and you're not putting them away for 6 months. It's only a month. Yes, a month.
And you can't lay-by for free anymore, I think. I think some of the places are actually charging you to lay-by. So when you add $15 or whatever it is onto your lay-by, it's not great. If you do a cyber sale, then you might take or Black Friday sale, take $15 off your price. So,
there we go.
We are going to look. We're going to try. We're going to try a thing first and then a song. You ready? Let's see.
Come on, knows how to twist. Come on and twist. Yeah, baby, twist. Ooh, yeah. Just like this. Come on, little miss. And you twist. Yeah. That's all right. Yeah. Twist so nice. Twist.
And that was Chubby Checker with a Twist, and before that was Coat of Many Colours by Dolly Parton.
We have one more little bit of news to share with you on a personal note.
The news.
We were looking to pay off our credit card this month, as we always do, and couldn't figure out why we owed so much. We kind of maxed it out. It's like we haven't started Christmas shopping properly yet.
It was nasty. Yeah. And it turned out that there were some transactions that we weren't aware of that had happened in Houston, Texas.
They weren't little either. They were
no, with roughly $1,200 or $1,300 each. The reason why I recognised that one of them was false is because it was an online purchase in Houston for $1,300 worth of clothes. Now, if you know me, you know that that's not the case. Who was our sponsor from the op shop in Armidale? No way. And the third one, there was two for clothing and accessories, and the third one was from auto shop, car and auto shop. The sort of thing that would easily slide past if you've got, a couple of people using a credit card, but not when you're suddenly looking at $4,000 plus fees. So it was 11:30 at night or something like that, bit of a panic going on. Rung my bank, which was the Commonwealth Bank. We'll probably get in touch with them later on and talk to their media people just for some information. But they were amazing. After I had the short conversation with First Lady, got transferred to cyber fraud, had a nice talk to Jordan, who basically said, yep, I can see those transactions. There's 6 of them. We're going to cancel your card. We're going to remove those transactions. You have no responsibility for them. A new card is going to come out in the mail. A remarkably simple process. It was very impressive. We are now technically without a Commonwealth Bank credit card for the next 7 to 10 days, which could be problematic, but we do have other options. Of course. That's right. But if you're a family that's relying on your credit card and you've only got one, that is a significant problem. So keep that in mind. But it reminds me, Tony, that you had said in one of our earlier shows that if you're going to be purchasing online, purchasing via credit card is safer than transferring money into somebody's account. And
absolutely,
this was a good experience. Why? And people have asked me, it's like, how did they get your credit card details? Oh my God! Look, there are so many ways they can get credit card details for that kind of transaction, and sometimes they just have bots that actually just keep on pounding numbers until they get the right thing. So it wasn't anything that we had done wrong. But what we usually do wrong is we don't check our credit card statement every month to make sure there's no transactions. This was fortunate, I guess, for us that they'd put so much on it that it made it obvious. So, yes, we'll be doing that more frequently.
And it's a good suggestion for all of you to, check what you're paying on your credit card statement at the end of the month or 55 days, whatever it is, before you pay it. Because I think it might have been a bit more difficult had we picked this up 6 months down the track.
Yes, I think so.
And these are questions I want to find out from the banks, and so we can give you a bit more update information. But yes, a nasty but successful and okay experience.
Yeah. At the radio station here, we play the last 5, I think, decades of music, and something that's sort of dropped off the radio station a little bit is 1950s music, and I'm looking at trying to bring that back into our collection a little bit. One of the reasons why is because obviously there's some great 50s music out there, but I'm also enjoying, and I've had some actually nice feedback about different versions of songs. This is a song coming up after our couple of sponsors ad called Something's Got a Hold on Me by Etta James, and assuming I'm correct, because I pulled this off the database, this was actually recently done in a movie, and the kids will all assume that this is a recent, noughties song, but it's actually from, it was I don't even know when, but it was older than that. That's it. So a short break, and then Something's Got a Hold on Me by Etta James.
Does your business have a good web presence? Are you missing business opportunities by having an outdated web page? Did you know there are 6 important tips to boost your web personality? Let station sponsor Antonovich Design build or update your web page. Your website will be custom designed to suit your needs, working directly with our experienced designers. Get more leads and more conversions with a web page that is browser friendly and works on all devices. Call Antonovich Design on 0449 134 191.
107.3 HFM, the voice of your community, is proudly supported by
Hugh Jones, member for Darling Range.
Dome Cafe, Armidale and Kelmscott.
Become a corporate member and support the voice of your community. Go to the webpage heritagefm.org for email details or to find out more.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. Yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before, no. Yeah. I just wanna tell you right now that I really do believe that something's got a hold on me here. Oh, it must be love. Oh, something's got a hold on me right now, child. Oh, it must be love. Let me tell you now, I've got a feeling, I feel so strange. Everything about me seems to have changed. Step by step, I got a brand new walk. I even sound sweeter when I talk. I said, oh, hey, yeah. Oh, it must be love. Let me tell you now, something's got a hold on me, yeah. Oh, it must be love. Oh, something's got a hold on me right now, child. Oh, it must be love. Let me tell you now, I've never felt like this before. Something's got a hold on me that won't let go. Believe I'd fly if I only could. I feel so strange, but it sure is good. I said, hey, yeah. Oh, it must be love. Let me tell you now, my heart feels happy, my feet feel light. I shake all over, I feel alright. I never felt like this before. Something's got a hold on me that won't let go. I never thought it could happen to me. Got me happy when I'm in misery. I never thought it could be this way. Love sure gone and put a hurt on me. I said, hey, yeah. Oh, it must be love. You know it walks like love. It talks like love. Make me feel alright. In the middle of the night. La 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 la.
Something's Got a Hold on Me, and that was Etta James in 1962, and the other one I was talking about was Christina Aguilera in 2010.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, it was. Yes. She did a great version, but Etta, she's fantastic, and it was actually she was actually the one who released it. It was back in '62 as the third single on her self-titled album.
Doesn't go back any earlier than that.
No,
wow, okay,
that was it. It's actually written by Laird Kirkland and Pearl Woods. Yeah.
There we go.
All the things that we learn about music. Now, what are we up to, Tony? We're up to our deep dive.
We're going to deep dive, yes, into crafting your feed. So, what does that mean? What does it mean? So, you are somewhat in control of the stuff that's dished up to you on a daily basis through all methods of communication, right? Emails, calls, social media, all that kind of stuff. You do have some control, right? Even at the very, very basic level. You don't have to answer your phone. You don't have to look at your device. Mm-hmm. You don't have to read your email. No, that's absolutely basic level. But obviously, it would be nice to have access to those things for your benefit. Right? Remember, they're for your benefit, not for everyone else's benefit. But it'd be nice to be able to customize what sorts of things you are being exposed to. So being able to choose and massage the sorts of information there, okay, to some degree. In effect, you want to quieten the noise. You want to separate the junk from useful stuff and to try and quieten the noise. Think about how something like that could change your overall experience of checking your email. You know, you might want to check your email and you go in there and say, oh, I'm overwhelmed by all of this junk.
Yeah.
And you just lose your will to live. You don't want to go through, I don't want to check, please don't force me to check my email because there's all this stuff in there.
And I actually find on Facebook, my Facebook feed, sometimes you might have a very well-meaning friend, but they're going through a bit of a crisis, and every time you hop on there, you're seeing their story over and over again. And sometimes it can be overwhelming.
And it's nice to be able to have those options to provide support and all that kind of stuff, but, you know, in your own time and in your own way.
Yes.
And that's kind of what we're trying to suggest here. All of these tools, technology and all that stuff, it's for your benefit, right? And if you're not getting the benefit out of it, then you're not doing something right.
Okay.
So anyway, the main players here, obviously I mentioned email, Facebook is another one worth talking about, and then just in general, things like phone calls, spam messages, all those kinds of things. So slowly, I'll just touch on some of these things to get you thinking about it and show you some of the things that we can do to try and quieten the noise.
Excellent, thank you.
So Facebook, starting off with. When you go into Facebook, be it on your personal device, phone, tablet or PC, you're exposed to what they call your Facebook feed, right? So when you go into you open the Facebook, it takes you directly to your feed. Generally, the feed is ranked by most popular posts that people are putting out there, okay? And they might not be particularly relevant to you, but they're the popular. That's what's trending, I think is the terminology, right?
Yep.
That's what's trending, that's what's most popular. So your feed is going to show you those big ticket items, if you like, at the top. And as you start to scroll down, they kind of dwindle down and you end up with some stuff that might be a bit more interesting or more relevant to you, not necessarily popular. There is a way you can go in and rank your posts by the most recent posts, which is one way to look at it. All right?
Yeah, interesting idea.
If it's popular, it's generally been around for a long time. But if it's relatively new, it might not be that popular. All right? So that's a good way to find out the latest information, not necessarily the stuff that everyone else is talking about. Okay.
Yep.
You can go into some settings in your Facebook, and now unfortunately it's a little bit different depending on whether you're using Android or Apple through the web or through the apps, because there are some slightly different ways of doing it. But from your feed, if you're in Facebook, regardless of which device, I'm just going to open up my Android phone and my Windows PC so I can compare the two. When you click on your profile picture, okay, so you know when you log into your Facebook page, there's a little picture of yourself, and that's usually in the top right hand corner. On the PC, on the left hand side or the left hand pane, you end up with a whole bunch of little icons with home and your profile picture, and then a whole bunch of other little things underneath it, like friends, marketplace, watch, memory, all of those kinds of things you can click on, groups. One of those options on the left hand side says most recent. Right? It's not a lot of people click on that, but if you tap on this thing that says most recent, it will change your feed view and give you the most recent stuff relevant to you in your feed rather than the most popular stuff. Similarly, on your phone, if you click on your profile pic in your phone, it will bring up a shortcut menu.
Yeah.
And then one of the options in your shortcut menu will be recent and favorites. All right, if you click on recent and favorites, it changes your feed view, and across the top you have your feed, favorites and recent. 3 different views of your feed that you can look at.
Okay, that's helpful.
What the problem, of course, is Facebook want to popularize things. So when you exit and go back in, it always defaults back to the popular view rather than your favorite view or your feed view. So you need to go in every time and select that option to see that. But that is one way of getting rid of the noise and focusing a little bit more on some of the things that might be of interest to you.
They also have the little 3-dot option, don't they, on advertising and things that comes through, and you can actually click on that and say, I don't want to see posts like this anymore.
That's right. That's for stuff that's already in your feed. What I'm suggesting here is you can choose a different kind of view of your feed,
right?
Where hopefully some of that stuff just disappears because it's not relevant. Yep. But you can with stuff that's already in your feed, as you say on the right hand side, the 3-dot menu. It means kind of the extra menu. Whenever you see 3 dots, it means there's additional stuff that we're not able to give you access to. So click on the 3 dots to find out more, and that's across all apps, all programs.
Yep.
Whenever you see 3 dots, tap on it or click on it to see the extra options. And one of those, if I just do it now on my PC, just so I can tell you what the options are, I'm clicking on something in my feed. I've got things like turn on notifications, report this post to the admins, hide this post, snooze it for 30 days, and various things like that. So you might constantly be seeing product advertising and things like that where you can say, I don't want to see this anymore. I'm not interested in this, or hide this. And over time, the Facebook algorithms, the AI in there will learn that you're not interested in those kinds of things. And so slowly they'll drop off.
Okay.
Yep. Obviously, it's really nice if you're brand new to Facebook. Don't start liking everything. And then this will be less of a task to try and manage later. But it's not the end of the world. You can go in there and slowly customize these things as you go. So slightly different ways of doing it. From the PC, on the left-hand side of the menu, you've got this thing, most recent, that you can click on. On your devices, phone and tablet, you click on your profile pic and you look for this thing called recent and favorites to get into there. If you've got an iPad or an iPhone, then you click on this thing called you click on your news feed, and then there's an option there, most popular. Right, so when you click on most popular, it changes, and then it says back to your news feed. So it toggles between the two. Right. Similar ways of doing it, but slightly different depending on which device you're using. But play with that, because your view of the stuff in your Facebook feed will change drastically.
Yeah.
And you might find Facebook a little bit nicer to play with. Yep.
Yeah. We're actually going to come back and talk about
Yes,
Facebook.
There's a bit more. But let's have a song and.
This song is one of your favourite artists, Benny King, with Spanish Harlem.
There is a rose in Spanish Harlem, a red rose up in Spanish Harlem. It is a special one, it's never seen the sun. It only comes out when the moon is on the run and all the stars are gleaming. It's growing in the street, right up through the concrete, but soft and sweet and dreamy. There is a rose in Spanish Harlem, a red rose up in Spanish Harlem.
close and watch her as she grows. In my garden is a rose in Spanish harp. La 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 la. There is a rose in Spanish harp. La 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 la. There is a rose in Spanish harp.
I just wanted to remind people, or let people know, because I had trouble last week, the numbers. If you want to call in with a listener question, and if you want to come and volunteer to help us out at the radio station next Anzac Day, I know that this is a fair way away, but we're starting to look for assistance for Anzac Day to help set up and take down equipment and come and be chiming with us, then drop me a text message on 0447 107 937. I'll give you that number again. But that's if you want to come and volunteer for anything. We have a pile of opportunities here of volunteers, and I'm really keen to get some people on board to help us out with some stuff. So drop me a text message. That's 0447 107 937, and you can come and give us a hand.
Fantastic. All right, we're deep diving into Facebook and crafting your feed, or particular Facebook at the moment.
Yep, so we're doing Facebook, and then we're moving on to some other ways of crafting your feed as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to touch on your feed preferences in Facebook. There is an option in the profile settings where you can click on your profile picture and go into settings and privacy. Right, there's an option called settings and privacy, and inside that there is a thing called feed. So when you go into feed, it brings up options about what goes in your feed, or what can be customised and stuff in your feed.
What sort of things can you customise?
You can customise favourites, so you can put people that you follow in there. So you can, if you want to follow me,
107.3.
You can put things like that. So you can add people and pages. Mm-hmm. So if you're following pages or businesses, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that basically prioritises that stuff in your feed, so it'll bubble to the top of the list of your feed.
That's a really good idea.
So you can do just that, and then that will get rid of the stuff that's popular and push it down, because it'll prioritise the stuff that you think is favourite.
That's a really good idea, because people our age and above, I think, who go onto Facebook, one of their primary reasons is to keep in touch with kids, or what their kids are doing or grandkids are doing. So being able to put those names in there, so that's kind of first what you see, and then after you've done that, you can wander onto other things.
That's right.
And of course, things like ABC News, they actually have Facebook feed as well, so you can prioritise some news as well before everything else.
Yep. So you can prioritise people and pages. Right?
Yeah.
So if you follow a particular page.
Yep.
107.3, as you say, or ABC News or whatever, you can add that stuff in there, and it will bubble to the top of your list. And then if you change your feed to most recent as well, you're going to get the most relevant, most recent favourites.
And you're starting to craft your feed.
You're starting to craft your feed, right.
Okay.
There's also another option under there called snooze. So if you're seeing stuff that you're not interested in, or you're seeing too much of, you can snooze things for a period of time.
Yeah, I've done that. I think it's a 3-month snooze, which is really good. Helpful if you've got a friend who's going through a traumatic breakup. It's like snooze it until they've had a little bit of time to.
Yep. Then there's the more drastic approach where you can unfollow somebody. Unfollowing is different than unfriending.
Yep, they don't get notified.
Yep, unfollow just means I will no longer see anything that they post. All right, but it doesn't mean you're still friends. So if you do want to contact them via Messenger or via the methods, you can still do that. You're just not going to see their stuff coming up on the...
Yeah, and you can unfollow pages too, can't you?
Yes.
So all competing radio stations, you can unfollow them. Just leaving ours in your feed.
And there's another option called reconnect. So reconnect with people and pages and groups that you've unfollowed. So it's basically the opposite of unfollow.
Okay.
Which is kind of nice. So there's some extra things, but you have to dig for them. They're in the settings. So when you click on your profile picture.
You like your settings tabs, don't you?
Yeah. Settings and privacy. And then look for your feed preferences. Now that might be slightly different on Android and Apple. That was what I found on the PC. So what you covered earlier on was what do I do with stuff that's already in my feed?
Yep.
That was the 3 dots. 3 dots gives you some options like report this as a problematic stuff to Facebook or to whoever, hide, and then you can do things like snooze and unfollow directly at that point. right? Because you might want to go into the settings and I remember there was somebody who kept spamming, but I can't remember who it was. But you can do that in your feed through the three dots.
Right.
Actually target that particular message, and then that will go back to whoever sent it or whatever. Not to the,
not to the source. Yes,
it will be able to figure out for your settings which one to put in there.
Yep. Okay.
So that's all pretty cool. Twitter's obviously doing some stuff now with all the changes that Musk has put in place. But Twitter also allows you to switch similarly between most popular stuff and latest stuff in your Twitter feed. If you've got the Twitter app or the Twitter on your PC, in the top right-hand corner, generally, there's a picture of a star. It's a little teeny-weeny icon star with a couple of plus signs next to it, so it's kind of a shining star. If you click on that, it allows you to switch between your home feed, which is all the popular stuff, and the latest information. So if you want to keep up to date with the latest news, and that's what Twitter's about. Twitter is all about stuff that's happening in the here and now. You want to be looking at latest, not most popular stuff that people have posted, because you read something in there and say, oh, there's been a tragic accident on the freeway, and it's 7 days ago. That's like, oh, that's no good. So going into latest is a much better way of doing that kind of stuff. Also in Twitter, if you go into your profile, so like I've mentioned in Facebook, you click on your little icon of your profile picture to go into those settings. In Twitter, you can go into your profile settings, and from within there you can choose topics. So I'm interested in news, I'm interested in weather, I'm interested in sport or whatever. And you can choose from a vast range of topics so that Twitter only dishes out the stuff that you're interested in rather than all and sundry.
Excellent.
So Twitter's some pretty cool stuff. Should we carry on, or would you like a song break?
I think a song break is probably a good idea. Look, just in the meantime, I've just been going through some things online at the same time as you've been talking there and doing my own filtering. City of Gosnell's website has actually got filters, and I was actually trying to find an event that was coming up because I was going to talk about it, which I think is now past. But you can actually choose a particular venue. In this case, I chose the Don Russell Performing Arts Centre and an age. In this case, I chose seniors 55 plus, and it's given me the events that's actually coming up at that venue, and they look really good. So there is the Dame Edna Experience coming up on December 2nd. The movie Love Actually on December 11th, Morning Melodies December 14th, which is a very jazzy Christmas, and a Seniors Carols by Candlelight on December the 16th. So if any of those appeal to you, then hop onto your City of Gosnell's website under the events and you can have a look at what's going on. Now we're going to listen to Night Train by James Brown.
All aboard for Night Train! Miami, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Raleigh, North Carolina.
again about the buttons.
I'm not really. 107.3 HFM, the voice of your community, and we are making IT complicated. No, we're making IT easy. We're making
trying to make IT easy.
We're making running a radio station complicated, but. So we're in the middle of our deep dive. Actually, it is about the middle. It's quite a long one today, so we'll see how we go. Maybe we can make it a part 2 next week. We are weekly now, yes?
Yes, I hadn't told anyone yet.
Oh, yes, we probably should do that.
Yes, every week. So
we've had a few people say, "Oh, this wasn't the week you were on." It's like, okay, we'll fix that. So, give us some feedback and let us know if you're happy for us to continue, because we would like to.
Yep.
So, phone and SMS.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to talk about this.
So we talk about things like spam and robo-text. All right? Robo-text. So these, you think you get a text message and somebody actually sent that. It's not. It's an automated, scammy kind of thing that happens. So they use this robo-text stuff. So we want to try and do some things about that if we can. So first things first, obviously, do not interact with the message. Right. The moment you reply or respond or click on a link or anything like that, generally something in there notifies the sender, or not necessarily the sender itself, but the mechanism that it sends it, that there is somebody there.
Yes.
Somebody's read it, somebody's acknowledged it. So
big tick next to it that they want to send
that
more
one
stuff
we're going
to
to send more stuff to you, right?
Okay.
So do your best to not interact with those kinds of things. Especially attachments, email attachments, don't open your email attachments, don't reply, all those kinds of things. So basically any kind of response is a confirmation, giving them,
Yep. Notification that you exist. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Okay.
If it's a number that you've received a message from on your phone, blocking the number is a really good thing to do up front. Okay, and generally there are a couple of different ways to do it depending on whether it's Apple or Android. Of course, a lot of these companies cycle through numbers that they call from, and a lot of the numbers are local numbers now, because these shops are in Australia. They're using local SIM cards. They're able to bounce international calls off local carriers and stuff through here. So there's really clever ways. So you won't necessarily know it's spam until
you've answered it. Actually, that's a good point. One of the things we haven't spoken about on this show is how to put a phone number into your contacts. Because I received a phone call from the security organisation who looks after our building here the other day, and it just came through as a local number, so I didn't answer it. It wasn't until I recognised who it was and then put it into my contacts, I know next time it's going to come out as security and I'm going to know to answer it.
Sure.
So, you should really, ideally, have, all your kids, family, anyone who you want to receive phone calls from listed in your contacts, so it comes up and notifies you who it is, and then you can spend more time ignoring others.
There are some advantages in that as well, because then you can add them as favourites, so that if you're on Do Not Disturb, those ones come through. So, obviously Do Not Disturb is a useful feature, but if it's family or your daughter or son or whatever and you want to be available,
you need to.
Those kinds of things go through.
Sadly, it doesn't help with places like Centrelink, whatever they're called now, Services Australia, or hospitals, medical centres. Often they will just not. Yeah.
Well, the problem with all of those services is they call from private numbers.
Yeah.
And I understand why they do that, but surely to God we've got enough nous in the telecommunications industry to just have a generic thing that says Royal Perth Hospital. I mean, private number versus Royal Perth Hospital. You'd answer the Royal Perth Hospital, right?
Yeah. You got all those hackers now going to start sending stuff as Royal Perth Hospital. We just gave them a tip. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's something that just should be done.
Yep.
I don't understand why, but yeah.
Okay.
So think about blocking your callers. So if you have an Apple phone, generally tapping on the phone number. So you go through your call log, so you can look at your previous calls. You tap on the phone number, and then a little menu pops up, and one of those options is block this caller.
Excellent.
Right? Which is fantastic. So obviously they can't. If they call through that number again, it'll automatically go to a spam folder. Okay, and it will notify you. The phone will pop up and say, "There's a missed call, suspected spam," and it puts it away. So you can go in there if you think it might not be spam and fix that.
Undo it again. Okay.
Android, similarly, instead of tapping on the number, you tap on the 3 dots. The 3 dots is a general kind of thing available. Click on the 3 dots, then you go into message details, and then there's an option to block and report spam. So it does two stages there. You can block the call, and just personally, or you can, if you know it's spam, absolutely, you can report it and that goes back through the telcos.
Yeah, because sometimes it's spam and sometimes it's just stuff you don't want. You know, like if you receive notifications from Target, you know, as in the Target Australia, the shop, you know, you don't want to report that. You know, it is legitimate. You just don't want it anymore. So the difference between block and report is significant.
Yep. So this is kind of stuff that's already happened. Yeah, you've already received these calls, and that's how you stop them from coming again.
Okay.
Prevention there is something you can do in regards to prevention. Android has this thing called spam protection, and that's again buried away under settings. But if you go into your Messages app, whatever you use for your Messages app, so the app that you would click to type text messages, etc., there's usually it can vary depending on your implementation because these are apps. Yeah, so each app has a slightly different version, but there should be a profile icon, possibly 3 dots or something with your initial or something like that to give you into your profile. Then there should be something called message settings, and inside message settings there should be spam protection.
Right.
And what spam protection does is if it recognises through the huge database that they have of phone numbers that it suspects it as spam, then it will automatically pop it in your spam thing and notify you that this message has been put in your spam.
Very clever.
It's not foolproof, but it's some way forward. And talking to my mate Ed, who was on the show a few weeks ago, in America they have lots of this stuff because it's so rife with spam. These are apps, particular apps that are installed by default on a lot of devices over there to deal with that. So we're going to probably get there, but at this stage, using the stuff that's inside your Android software is a good way forward. Apple, if you use iMessage for your messages on your Apple devices, they have filters where you can specify a call coming from your contacts or from unknown senders. So basically, once you receive a call from somebody, if you like them, you put them in your contacts, or you know who they are, you put them in your contacts, and then it becomes a known sender. And anything else becomes an unknown sender. So then you can basically go in there and filter your calls based on known and unknown, and then you can block all of them one hit or do whatever you like. In the Apple space, you go into the settings cog, the all settings cog, and under messages, there's a message filtering option. And then you can turn on filter unknown senders. All right, so then it separates them into 2 separate lists of callers, which you can then go back and block and do what you like.
Right, okay.
Apple goes one step further. If you receive a message from one of these unknown senders and there's an attachment or something you can click on, it won't let you because it's an unknown sender. It prevents you from clicking any of the links so that you can't accidentally acknowledge anything or maliciously go to any kind of site or whatever the case. So Apple has that extra level of security. You all have heard of the Do Not Call register?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but how would we do that?
It's not a particularly effective method. Okay. There are some penalties set up for organisations that ignore people that are on the Do Not Call register, but I don't know how effective that is because I still tend to get calls from telemarketers about things. So anyway, if you're interested in exploring that option, donotcall.gov.au is the website to go to and read up about whether you think that's something that would be useful to you going forward.
Fantastic. Okay. In case you were wondering, the last few songs we've been listening to are all 1960, or at least around about 1960. That's when they were produced. So this song fits into that same category as well, which is Tequila.
Need a plumber? AHM Plumbing and Gas are a locally owned and operated company that will take care of all your plumbing needs, from tap servicing to hot water unit replacement or clearing blocked drains. AHM Plumbing and Gas have 30 plus years experience and will get the job done on time at the right price. Follow us on Facebook for monthly discounts and specials. Your local experts. AHM Plumbing and Gas. 0413 191 034. PL 6754. Station sponsor.
Station sponsor Reed's Remotes are a family-owned and run business. They offer a one-stop shop to most remotes and keys, stocking WA's largest range of replacement garage and gate remotes and batteries to fit all makes and models. Replacement keys from spare keys to house keys, flip keys and smart proximity keys. They are fully licensed to cut and program spare car keys. Located East Vic Park, you can find them online or in-store. Head to reedsremotes.com.au. Station sponsor.
MRB 8165.
Don't forget, folks, that Rock Aria is coming up at 3 o'clock, so hang around after we finish our show and listen to the guys with their rock. It's a great show.
Deep diving into crafting your feed, you can't really talk about this kind of stuff without junk email. Junk email is one of those things that really affects...
Bane of our existence, yes.
Yeah, I don't know how many messages you get on a daily basis, but I get too many, and most of it's rubbish.
Well, I do have some junk filters set up, so I don't see a lot of the stuff that comes through. I mean, I still have too much junk, but a lot of it I don't even see. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty good with that little 3 dots or whatever it is to send things to a spam filter, never to be seen again.
Yep.
And into I think I've got a folder called competitions and clothing or something, which I intend to one day go back and have a look at. But yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So anyway, how do we deal with spam and how do you set up these spam filters? Oh, they're all different, but I'll give you a general idea about where to go and look to set up these things. So spam filters are only as good as how you train them. Yeah?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
If you get a message in your inbox and you go, I don't want that, and you just delete it, right? All you're doing is deleting the message. Mm-hmm. You're not telling the computer or the software or the mail provider or anything about the fact about this message other than that you've deleted it. And you would delete any message once you finished with it, presumably. So you need to kind of tell the spam filter that this is spam, or this is a problem, or I don't want it, or I want it filed somewhere, or whatever, before you delete it. Right? And then hopefully that will cut down how many of those you get in the future from that particular sender or group or whatever. So don't just delete it. Try and figure out how to teach your email client to recognize it as spam. So Gmail, which a lot of people would use as email now as a free thing, that has an exclamation point on the toolbar when you select a message. So when you click on a message in your list of messages in Gmail, across the menu bar across the top, there's an exclamation point, an exclamation mark. If you click on that exclamation point, you can then choose to say, this is spam. Right there and there. Right there and there. So it's one extra click to do before you delete it. You've got to click the delete thing on that menu bar, so you might as well click on this thing to say it's spam first. So then Gmail knows, it puts a rule in place on your account from that sender, or anything in that message header. It actually looks for things to recognise it as a spam message, and it will use some heuristics and some artificial intelligence to try and pattern match that with other messages that come in. Right? So it's really quite clever and powerful for you to do that. Alternatively, on the message itself, if you've opened it or whatever, or on the right-hand side, the 3 dots. Look for the 3 dots next to a particular message, and there'll be an option for you to block as well. Okay? Great options for you to choose from. If you're using Outlook, so Microsoft Outlook on the web, a lot of people use that. And if you come from Hotmail, back in the old days, Hotmail is now Outlook.
Yep.
And Outlook has 2 versions, the Outlook web version, which is through the internet browser, and then the full Outlook client that you install on your PC. Right, so if you subscribe to Microsoft Office, if you pay for a subscription or have purchased an older version of Microsoft Office, you might have a version of Outlook installed on your PC. Right. Yep. Which is different to the web version. So for the web version, very similar to Gmail, there's a report flag on the menu. So when you click on the message, there's a little flag rather than an exclamation point, which does a similar thing to block. And also there's the 3 dot option on each of the messages on the right-hand side for you to click on. If you have the Outlook full client installed on your PC, right-click is your friend. Generally, one of the things with web-based applications is they don't generally let you right-click on anything.
Okay.
Right-click usually brings up some information about the web page rather than the item that you're clicking on, whereas Windows has that control over everything on the screen. So right-clicking on a message in Outlook, there's an option junk and block.
Right-clicking is handy. If all else fails, then right-click. That's the next best thing.
It generally catches you off guard, though, when you're using an internet page, a web page, so Gmail, Outlook web, right-click doesn't always do the right-click thing. So be mindful of that. On the PC, though, absolutely, right-clicking is the way to go. Think about unsubscribing from the email via a link, which is usually supplied in the message. Right now, what they'll try and do, that they are supposed to legally give you an unsubscribe option, but they might put it in, really, really small 2-point text right at the bottom of the footer or buried inside some terms and conditions and stuff, and you can't necessarily find it.
I think actually legally it has to be at the bottom of the email.
So if you search the message that you've got open, so Control F, if you like shortcuts on your keyboard, Control F will bring up a find box and type the word unsubscribe.
Yeah, first of all, start just by looking at the very bottom of the email.
Sure.
Then if you don't find it.
If you don't find it, search for the word unsubscribe, and that will take you to that point. You click on that link, and it'll do one of a number of things, but it might open a web page, which give you some settings, and then you go in there and say, I want to unsubscribe, and the reason for it. Sometimes it just sends a message off and says, thank you, you'll be unsubscribed next time, or something like that. But go through that process.
And there's a third option. The third option is that they ask you for your username and password before they'll let you unsubscribe, which you can't remember, so then you have to go back and block and
Be mindful though, anything that's asking for your username and password, be mindful that that's the right place that's asking for your username and password, because a spam message.
I was going to ask you if you had seen that come up very often, that the unsubscribe was actually a spam. It was actually an attempt for a hack.
It seems logical, but I don't think I have. But
okay, that's the 2 tips for hackers. They're going to all be listening to our show now.
So that'll deal with messages that as they come through, as you're looking through, right? But if you want to try and nip it in the bud or try and clean up, say if you're one of those people that don't delete messages and you've got 10,000 messages in your inbox.
You're looking at me, yes.
You might want to clean up the stuff later. So why not search your inbox, your entire inbox, for the word unsubscribe? Bear with me for a second. Type the word unsubscribe in the search box, and it's going to give you a cut down list of all of your messages that all have the word unsubscribe somewhere in the body. And then if you sort your messages by sender, you can then find out which senders. You could just go into one of those, unsubscribe, and that should get rid of all of those messages. And then the next one and the next one and the next one. And then you can delete all of those. And
that's a good idea.
All good. Way to clean up all those messages. Because, having the idea of having to go through your messages one by one, this is junk, this is junk, this is junk. Oh, oops, I deleted that one from my daughter with the photo of the dog. That's annoying. Yes, if you nobody's really going to put the word unsubscribe in a message unless it's
good
something
idea.
like that. So it's a little tip that might work. So going forward, don't just give away your email address. It's as important as your date of birth and all of those kinds of things. Don't just willy-nilly, what's your email address and I'll send you something, or whatever the case. Think of the possibility of having a secondary email address.
I was hoping you were going to suggest that.
Or a tertiary email address even. One that if you want to sign up to shopping site, not saying don't do it, just don't give them your everyday important email address. Create a secondary one that you're happy to lose or happy to throw away.
I think we should talk about ours here, because at our domain, we've got a Tony at whatever, and we've got a K at whatever, and then we had a Wacky at whatever, and that was the email address that we would give anybody if we wanted to sign up for something or just give it away, whatever that was. And then after we'd had it for a couple of years and we're getting all this spam, we went through it, filtered out the things that we actually really wanted to keep and transferred them to a new email address, which was actually Nutty at something, and then the wacky stuff we could just remove, get rid of it completely. It was a great way to clean up.
I think what we actually did is put it in archive so that messages still came to it. So we watched it over the next 6 months to make sure we hadn't missed anything.
Yep.
And then eventually we just turned it off.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's pretty easy to get a free email address these days from, a Gmail address or an Outlook address.
Yep. And there's nothing stopping you having to. Yes, you can sign up with your same name twice, all that kind of stuff. Different user ID,
right? Okay,
different password. Right. Still need to be able to verify who you are, so it'll still be linked to you and your phone number usually. But that's fine, and you can use one to protect the other, kind of thing as well.
Yes, that's right.
If you forget your password, it might send a resetting code to the other one, so you can do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would almost
always have two.
Yeah, and I think it's something you should look at doing yourself. Don't expose your email addresses in your profiles. So if you've got Facebook, don't publicly list. You can go into settings and say, here is my email address that I've used to log into it, but it's not publicly available. Bang, bang, bang. And do the same thing with your birth dates and all those kinds of things. You can still have a birthday on Facebook without publishing your actual birthday. Your friends will see it. Obviously, today is Tony's birthday, or tomorrow is Tony's birthday, and your friends will know. But no one will be able to go into your profile at any other time and look and see what your birthday is.
Okay, good tip.
So don't expose your email addresses in things like Facebook and Twitter, etc. Keep it hidden to yourself in your profile, and there's an option to do that. And if you feel like it, you can make it available to your friends, right? But you can just remove it from the public stuff. So just some things to think about to clean up your existing junk mail, and some things you could put in place to try and prevent it from happening in the future.
Can we go to a song?
Yes.
I'm having a bit of a love affair with this particular song. So James is on his way home, he's listening in the radio, and you will smile, I'm sure. Neil Diamond with Suleiman.
Come here, come see. Ride on the night. Sun become day. Day shall provide. Suleiman, 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 Suleiman. Hey, God of my wall, Lord of my need, lead me on, the woman she dance for the sun. God of my day, Lord of my night, seek for the way, take me home. She calling. Bring home my name. On the wings of a flea. Wind in the God of my wall, Lord of my need, leading me on to the woman she danced for the sun. God of my day, Lord of my night, seek for the way, taking me home.
.3 HFM, the voice of your community, is proudly supported by
Woods Mowers and Saws Armidale,
Serpentine Mower and Saws,
the Byford Harness Club.
Become a corporate member and support the voice of your community. Go to the webpage heritagefm.org for email details or to find out more.
Your Examiner newspaper is available weekly and is filled with news, information and advertisers from your local area. Packed every week with the reports you need about local sports, real estate, motoring, entertainment and local tradesmen. You'll be kept up to date with the goings-on from the 3 local governments, Armidale, Gosnells and Serpentine Jarrahdale. The Examiner has a proud reputation on its commitment to reporting news that is relevant to you. Station sponsor, the Examiner newspaper, available free every weekend.
Thank you to our friends at the Examiner newspaper. You're back with 107.3, the voice of your community. Tony and Kay on Making IT Easy. Tony, tell us about news feeds.
News feeds.
Is that what we're up to? Are we up to news feeds?
We're kind of talking about news feeds as part of our deep dive stuff. News seems to be a topic for kind of streaming through this whole episode. So news feeds is one of those things you can customize. We talked about customizing your feeds in Facebook and in Twitter and all things like that. But if you subscribe to a particular news feed, like I mentioned at the very beginning, you can use your Google news feed to catch up with the things that's going on. You can massage some of that information as well. So from your home screen on your Android device, swiping to the right hand side from the home screen gives you your news feed, and underneath each one of those news articles, the 3 dots that I keep talking about all the time give you things like I'm not interested, I'm not interested in this particular article, I'm not interested in the publisher of this article, don't show me news from this website, and then you can go down and manage your interests. So not only can you target that one particular thing, but it gives you a shortcut to go into your interests, and then from your interests it gives you, have a look at this, Kay, how many different things you can choose, and you can customize a topic. You can put in a keyword,
right,
and create your own interest based on that, and then later you can go back and turn them on or turn them off by adding them or removing them from that. So what the Google feed does is actually looks at all of the things you've searched for historically in Google. So if you type in size 7 tennis shoes, that will come up as an option for you to click on, and then it will go into the news feed to find that information, which is just so powerful. Can you imagine? But it can also be crazy with all the stuff that then comes into your news feed. So pick a couple of key things and see how that works for you. In the Google space. Similarly with all of the other news apps, you can go in and customize by topic things that you're interested in. And we're going to talk about the ABC app shortly in our app of the day, and I might step through some of those things that you can play with in that space. But just keep in mind that whatever you choose as an app for your news, there'll be something you can go into and customize what information is being dished to you. If you're just happy to give to whatever the latest stuff is, you can pick a location, and it will just tell you the latest news in that location.
Yeah, okay.
Or you can specify more granularly the sorts of things that you're interested in by topic.
And that's something that you can change on a fairly agile basis, isn't it? If you decide that, this week you really want to know what's happening in world news, you want to catch up on everything, but next week it's like, you know what, I really want to hide my head in the sand for a week and just pretend it doesn't exist, you can go through and take off some of those subjects.
There's a few different ways, schools of thought. You can use Google as your main one and put everything in it. Or you can use maybe a Google one and an ABC one or another one, and you can just say, I go to there for sport. I go to there for international news, and I go there for local news.
Yeah.
So whatever mood I'm in,
kind of smart.
Whatever mood I'm in, I'm going to open that app rather than have everything delivered in one place.
Yep.
But there's advantages and disadvantages in both those techniques. Having to go to multiple places to look for things versus having it all dished out to you. So I think we'll stop there with the newsfeed stuff and in the deep dive, I think, because there's a lot of information to soak in there. We'll come back and talk a little bit about the ABC app.
Yeah, okay. And we're going to look at notifications as our deep dive next week, aren't we?
Yes, so just calming the noise, the messages that come through to you. Notifications are different to messages, different to emails and text messages. We're talking about pop-ups and things that say you've got a new email or you've got a message from Wish or...
Yeah, and they're very, very useful, but they can also be a bit daunting. So, yeah, that's probably an extension of the crafting your feed. And kind of the idea of this crafting your feed is to try and design the kind of information that's actually coming into your world. So it's not going to overwhelm you or necessarily be depressing, or maybe you want stuff that's uplifting, or maybe you want stuff that's like the honest truth. Whatever that is, you can actually try and design what it is that you want the information coming into you.
And kind of what I said at the beginning of the hour, think about technology as your tool. You choose what you're going to use it for. Don't be at its mercy and put up with all the stuff that it gives you if you don't want it.
An excellent idea. We're going to do a song, Tony.
Okay.
I think that was a plan. Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs, Believe It Just Like Me is our song, so it's coming at you.
I've worked for years and years to get my music played. I fought and lost and won, and in between I played. And now at last it seems we're getting some reward.
107.3 HFM, the voice of your community, making IT easy with Tony and Kay, and talking about the ABC News app.
Yes, our app of the day, the ABC News app. Just trying to find where it is on my notes. Okay, so you can get it from the Google Play Store or from the Apple App Store. Yeah, the two main flavours. You can also use it online on the web. All right, so if you don't have a smart device and you have a PC or a laptop, you can go to abc.net.au is the website, and that brings up a progressive web app, or what they call a progressive web app, which is it's like an app, but it lives in your internet browser window. Okay, so it gives you a lot of the functionality that the app does, but not all of it. So the apps tend to be a little bit better because they can customize things quite nicely. So the two places to get it, the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. So once you download and install the app, they will ask you to log in. So being an ABC thing, you need to create a username and a password. And like most things, please don't use the same password for anything more than once. I know. Please.
If you are going to use a password more than once, and make sure it's only very low-level security things that you're putting it in.
Yeah, and make your passwords nice and strong. We've talked about this many a time, and we'll probably refresh everybody's memories about passwords coming up in another show.
Yep.
It's the sort of thing that you really need to keep on top of. But anyway, you'll need to create an account in order to access the stuff. And it's just like Google. You have like a Google account, which gives you access to Gmail, Google Drive, and all the other Google facilities that are available. The ABC, you have an ABC account, which gives you access to the ABC News and the ABC iView program and other things that the ABC...
I've forgotten about that,
channel, if you like.
Makes available.
Yep, so one login gives you access to all of the suite of ABC stuff. So when you log into your app, or indeed on your PC and your web page, you'll have access to local news, radio. There's ABC Radio as well. iView, there's the TV guide.
iView is
the pre-recorded and live streams of stuff that's available on the ABC television network.
So if you wanted to watch, let's say Doctor Who was on ABC TV, you'd actually be able to go back and watch the episode that was aired last week.
Yes, or you can watch, if it happens to be on right now, you can watch it live on your devices streaming.
That's very handy on the train.
Yep, there are those options. But these days, with everything being pre-recorded, it's much more convenient for you to pick a time that's suitable for you to sit down and watch it, rather than having to be at 6:30, sitting down in the lounge or wherever in front of your telly. So anyway, the ABC account will give you access to all of the suites of things, including sport. There's kids, ABC for kids, and a whole bunch more. So when you go into the app and log in, you'll see the menu across the top, giving you access to all of those things. Just have a quick click on the more option on my PC here, just so I can see what it is. And there are so many things. There's about 40 different places that you can go to.
Okay.
Even Triple J, Radio Australia, all sorts of stuff. These are all part of the ABC network. So there's a lot of stuff in there for you to play with. So have a look in that space. Now, news is what we were talking about. So at the very, very top banner of your app or whatever, there'll be a location. So what it tries to do, if you're using a Google Chrome browser, is it figures out what your current location is, and it will hopefully have determined that you're in Perth.
All right, okay.
And your location is there. You can actually change that location if you want to. Put in a suburb or a postcode, and then find relevant information.
And that's helpful for your local feed. So if you want local, yeah.
Again, we're kind of dovetailing into crafting your feed. You can go in there and do that kind of stuff. So I could change that to anywhere in Australia. In effect, for that information. There's also weather information that you can click on that and pick a different region anywhere, so you can get up-to-date weather about that information as well. And also, on the right-hand side, you've got a profile icon, And inside your profile icon, you can manage your ABC account, and there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do in there as well.
So it sounds like something that if that kind of app interests you, you need to sit down and spend a bit of time just going through the app one option at a time and see what works for you.
Mm-hmm. Once you click on news, it then gives you a sub-menu of live news, things like coronavirus, politics, world, business, analysis, sport, science, health, etc.
Right, they were the categories I was chasing earlier.
So then you can click on one of those and just get the news based on that information. Or you can go into filters and have your news feed broken down to only include the ones that you're interested in.
Yep.
All right, so there's lots of different ways to skin a cat and craft the information that's coming out of your news feed. And ABC News is just one of many, and there are many. We talked about things a bit left of field, like the Al Jazeera international stuff.
BBC.
The SBS World News, of course, very popular. BBC, as you said, and a few others are out there. The New York Times, things like that. You can install an app or go to their website and then start to get information about. Like talking to Ed just recently, they don't know anything that's going on over here. Like the Optus scam was
news to him, wasn't it?
Page 10.
Yeah, it was too.
Information. He didn't hear about it until he actually landed in Australia. So similarly, things might be going on in the US that we don't necessarily hear about here that might be interesting to you. So you can have a look at crafting the information that comes up through your feed. So the app of the day is ABC News, but there are many news apps out there for you to play with.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Tony. That was really helpful and given me a few tips that I didn't have before, which you always do. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
My woman keep me warm.
Should Be Dancing by the Bee Gees here on 107.3 HFM, the voice of your community, on Making IT Easy with Tony and Kay. Now, Tony, we actually both popped this listener question in. I had it from Trevor. Last Tuesday night, I interviewed Trevor Hine, who is a dear fellow who was actually born in Germany and was able to barely escape the war, and had a self-sufficient, he was living on a self-sufficient farm when he was a kid, so he had some amazing stories to tell us. That's in the Magnificent Seven. And he was on as his art and craft, I guess, or art creative was his storytelling. And one of the reasons that it's so significant to him to be telling these stories is he wants to be able to pass down his stories to his kids and his grandkids. And his grandkids in particular just haven't been interested. And after the show, we sat down and Trevor sort of said to me, he said, how do I connect with my grandkids? How do I get these stories in front of them? Because he's got a family story that goes back to the 1700s that he fears is going to die with him. And I said, are they on Facebook? And he kind of looked at me blankly. He's very up to date with technology, and you helped him with a new phone and that sort of thing, and he's using WhatsApp, and he's telling the world about his radio program and communicating with people. But he hadn't registered just how significant Facebook was in terms of making connections with his grandkids in particular. And when I asked for one of the grandchildren's names, I was able to pop into Facebook and actually said, "Is this her?" And his face, just his eyes widened. He says, "How do you have a photo of her?" And it's like, well, this is information she's making available to Facebook, and you can see that information because she's making it available to the world. You can see that she's, just got a new boyfriend, and this is where she's working because she's making that information available. So he went away to go and set up a Facebook account, and we're going to try and craft that feed so he doesn't give away too much personal information, but does make things available to people. And we're going to put his interview on there, and we're going to tag his grandchildren on there because they were mentioned in the show. And that's going to create that connection between him and his grandkids on Facebook for the first time.
What a fantastic idea.
It's great. And that kind of answers one of the questions about why would somebody have Facebook? Why would they use it? I have different purposes for Facebook, but let's hand over to you, Tony.
You covered that beautifully in that scenario. The listener question was, should I use Facebook? And the bigger question is, what am I missing out on, and what am I putting at risk to use this, the biggest social media network in the world? No two ways about it.
Yeah.
So I've done a little bit of research. Like, numbers kind of mean a lot to me, and a lot of people, I guess. So exploring why generally people use Facebook. You've given us a really good case example of reconnecting or keeping generations, keeping the generations together, because this technology divide and this age gap and all of that kind of stuff is huge. It's a huge thing, and something like Facebook can help to try and do that if people are willing to take that leap. And it's not much of a leap. It's a little hop.
It's not just it's not just a meme that you watch TV shows and the teenager is always on their phone. It's like, get off your phone. I'm on your phone. How do you get in front of those kids? You get on their phone where they're looking.
But they're not necessarily playing games. They're talking to their friends. Right. That's how they communicate.
Yeah.
They're not in the same room. They can't go out or whatever their circumstance is. Anyway, the most popular reason to use Facebook is messaging family and friends, sharing photos and videos.
And messaging is interesting. So actually having a chat with somebody on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And that works out, of the people that use Facebook, 88% of people use it for that reason.
Right.
Now, these numbers don't add up to 100%. This is like, 88% of the time people are using messages.
But also 33% of the time they're doing something else.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Yep.
Family and friends sharing photos and videos, right? And this is where this thing for Trevor is going to really, really work and shine. Entertainment, about 30%-ish. Use it for entertainment. Now, entertainment can take on a whole bunch of different meanings.
It can, yes.
The stuff that comes through your news feed being little anecdotes or memes meaning special words or
little quotes and that sort of thing,
or a little video of a cat showing a horrid expression at something
because of a cucumber.
All sorts. These are the kind of memes, just funny things to make you kind of laugh and smile, which can get a bit tiring after a while, which is why you want to craft who you're getting these memes from, etc., etc. But that's one form of entertainment. There are games available also through there that you can play. and just having a good time in general. So entertainment is one of the things people often put things like on YouTube is used more so, but you can sing a song or whatever and put it on there.
Yeah, very true.
There's nothing stopping you posting pretty much anything in your Facebook feed. News takes up about 25%. So keeping up to date with personal news, like this just happened in the family.
Oh, I see. Right.
Or bigger news, this has happened. But that the bigger news tends to fall more towards Twitter and news services and feeds and stuff like that. Whereas you can have more targeted news to people in your feed, if you like.
And when you sign up with groups on Facebook, which is getting into another category, I've got a group that talks about the local news in my immediate suburb. So they might say, just watch out because there's been a crash on the corner of such and such street. Yep. Or, the person on First Avenue's lost their dog. Can everyone keep an eye out?
Neighbourhood watch kind of groups.
Yeah.
There's many groups in Facebook which you can apply to be members of. Usually there's an administrator of some kind that says yes you can or no you can't, and they could have a whole bunch of rules around your location or your age or demographic
and your
gender
behaviour
or all sorts of things like that. They can put in any policies they like.
We should talk about that in another show. Yeah.
So about 25% news, about 20% research on products and branding. So if you're interested in a particular type of cosmetic product, as my daughter would be, she might look at a Facebook page or a feed for a particular product.
Or a particular person.
Yes. You could follow a person that does stuff. Tends to happen more on YouTube, that kind of stuff. But again, Facebook has that. And often you cross-post.
Yes.
A Facebook link will take you to a YouTube page and vice versa. About 10% is getting bigger, professional stuff. So professional services, looking for an accountant or a panel beater or a computer technician or whatever. Professional services are becoming bigger and bigger in that space. There's a huge amount of professional stuff out there, but only about 10% of people use Facebook to seek out that professional stuff.
Yeah,
and I can see that number changing drastically.
Over time.
Yeah,
for sure.
And there's kind of other, 6% of other, and I didn't go into too much detail about what other is, but there could be a whole bunch of...
Well, I'm thinking about our uses for Facebook, because 107.3 is on Facebook, so we use it to have a Facebook page so that people can follow us, and things like Rock Aria will advertise on the page that it's happening. It's really handy. We also advertise our events on Facebook page. We also have a different group for our volunteers and announcers, and then we have a chat group for particular groups as well. So we utilise Facebook a lot in a lot of those different areas.
Yeah, and I guess if you had a extended family over multiple continents, you could create, like a friend of mine has a what they call the intercontinental group, and basically all of the members in 5 different countries are all part of that group, and they can just send messages backwards and forwards on their news feed. And that have a messenger group as well, so they can text each other through, message each other through that, and share photos of things and events and stuff like that. So look, it can be a really useful tool if you kind of understand how to use it and just limit yourself to what you actually need rather than being spammed with all this stuff. And the crafting feed stuff dovetails into that beautifully. So, reasons to use Facebook. Generally speaking, you want to stay in the know and you want to be able to share information with your family and friends, etc. You love visual content. Because it is a visual feed, the stuff that comes through. You're not just reading text and messages, which can be a little bit dull and boring. If you run a business or a group or an organisation, it's a really good infrastructure to use to just leverage off all of the stuff that they have there. You don't have to recreate the wheel, just become a member of it, create your own custom groups and stuff like that, and you just use all of that infrastructure. It's all free, it's just fantastic.
It is remarkable.
And the other thing is, if you're a gamer, it's another good place for people to share their information and stories and tips and tricks and all of that kind of stuff if you're a gamer. So if any of those things fit you, then I would suggest you have a look.
Okay, I want to try and sneak in another quick song because we're running out of time here very quickly. So we're going to go to Make You Happy by the Easy Beats before we head off. 107.3 HFM, the voice of your community. I hope you've been enjoying the music as much as I have today. A reminder that the show notes are available at magooit.com.au. Grab the show notes from there so you can keep up with all those amazing tips and tricks that Tony's been sharing with us. Next Saturday, so now every Saturday, next Saturday on Making IT Easy, we'll be talking about how to uninstall apps and Windows programs you don't need. I better make sure I'm here for that because I've got too many apps installed. A deep dive into notifications. The app of the day will be the Authenticator app. If you have a question for us between now and then, drop me a text message on 0447 107 937. Quick reminder that December the 3rd with Christmas carols, I'm going to be at the Byford Christmas carols for the first part of it, and 107.3 is going to have station there, so come along to that or one of the other carols and we'll catch you some other time. And last but not least, next Tuesday, our guest for Magnificent 7 is unable to join us, so I am going to be doing a couple of hours of show tunes. So come and join me from 7 till 9, turn your music up a little bit, and we're going to do a bit of dancing around the studio to some show tunes. So that's it from me, Tony.
Stay tuned for Rock Aria at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, wonderful. And we're going to go out with the song Jessica by the Allman Brothers Band, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. See you later.